detachment of Waffen SS are camping in the forest. Kill them all.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Rei-Lin, and going to be bringing you something new today. This is Raid World War II. I don't really want to drag this review out that much, but just to show you some of the maps and stuff, I kind of have to a little bit, just because to get the gist and understanding of how these maps work and what it's all about, you kind of have to see some of it, you know, to get an idea. Mainly, if I wanted to be brutally honest, this is basically, you could almost say, a PayDay 2 DLC. You take PayDay 2, you put it in World War II, you replace all the cops with Nazis and the criminals with basically heroes that don't really get called heroes because they're working behind the scenes during World War II, and this is what you get. It's basically the exact same game as PayDay 2 with those elements, like I said, just replaced. You have fast and loud maps where you can just go in guns blazing, and you have stealthy stuff like this where you can pick up bodies and move them. There's no body bags, but you can pick the bodies up and throw them places. The emphasis is kind of taken off the whole criminal aspect of it and put more with shooting stuff and working as a team, with the biggest difference between this and the PayDay series, mainly that each character, and there are 4 characters, are basically classes. Now, when I say classes, I literally kind of mean that like RPG sort of classes. You have an assault guy, you have a recon guy, you have a demolitions guy. You know, they actually all have different skills and different strengths and weaknesses when it comes to the gameplay. Now, one thing that I did like is that you can pick any of the characters that you want. There's a guy from Britain, a guy from the USA, a German defector, and a Russian. And, you know, they have different personalities. You know, they try to be kind of funny. I like Sterling, the British guy. That's the guy that I'm using because he's hilarious. He says funny stuff because, you know, British. And to me, it's just, he's amusing. He's always saying, you know, nice things even when he's killing people. And it's just funny to me. So there is some humor in the game, and the classes are just there to kind of, I don't even know why they put the class system in it. To me, it's kind of limiting in some ways, because in PayDay 2, you could basically just use whatever you wanted. You could set your characters up to play a certain way because of the skill trees, but this isn't like that. You have some leeway in the skill trees, but for the most part, everyone will get the same basic sort of skills, but then depending on the class you picked, you're going to gain skills that obviously strengthen the strengths of your class. For this, I'm using the assault class because he gets an assault rifle, as you see, but the big reason why I wanted to use him over the others is a lot of these maps, at least in the beta, you only had 3 maps to choose from, and there weren't really any long distance stuff. I would rather have used a Recon because I like the sniping, but even the Recon class gets a sniper rifle, but it has no scope, so you can't really make really long distance shots. And it's not as useful because, you know, everybody rushes at you, or your teammates open fire at stuff, and, you know, I mean, it's really hard to sometimes hit multiple people, and it's limited ammunition and all that, so I didn't find it to be that useful. If you look in the bottom left of the screen as you watch through the video, you're going to see a little symbol, and it's basically they added a war cry ability. It's basically like a rage meter. As I do damage and take damage, it fills up, and then I can use the ability to help my team. Now, all of the war cries are really useful, but the assault class here, his war cry heals everybody on my team, and it gives us almost unlimited ammunition for the duration. So for about 10 seconds, you can just go guns blazing, and you don't even really use any ammunition. You do, but it's like you have to fire 3 or 4 shots for every 1 bullet that you lose. So that's extremely useful for your team. You know, being able to keep people alive is, you know, in my opinion, the best thing you can do. The others have things like, you know, steady aim or auto aim assistance. You know, they have bigger explosions or, you know, harder hitting grenades and things like that with demolitions. So I didn't go much into it. I tried the Recon a little bit, and I tried the Assault a little bit. I didn't mind Demolitions. They get a shotgun, which, as you might think of shotguns in any other game, point blank or up close, it's devastatingly powerful. But I was trying to learn this game and kind of get the mechanics, get a feel for how much damage people could take, you know, how far you could push it. Because it is like in PayDay 2, once you go loud, you just start fighting more and more and more stuff. They just keep throwing more enemies at you, a lot more enemies at you, and then you start getting into, you know, paratroopers. They start bringing in snipers. They start bringing in heavier armed people, like they have flamethrower guys that come out, and those flamethrowers will kick your ass. They're basically like the bulldozers. There he is. Obviously, I get a little bit lucky here, and I throw some grenades and then just shoot the crap out of him. But if he was to get on me, within seconds, he'll just destroy me. So, luckily, he's slow, and as you saw, I could throw some grenades and blow him up pretty quick. But your teammates are also very vulnerable to it because they want to stand point blank and just keep shooting him in the face. Sure, that'll work, but they die really quick. And I'm fighting, you know, with AI teammates just like in PayDay 2. And you can give them basic commands, and they will res you off the ground if you get shot enough to go down. But in some cases, they bug out and don't realize that you're down, and you sit there until you bleed out, and it's game over. So engine-wise, graphic-wise, the game looks alright. It looks just like PayDay 2 in a lot of ways. There are people complaining a lot about that it's the same engine from PayDay 2, that the engine was buggy, prone to crashing, a bit unstable. I didn't have any crashes or any major issues with the beta at all, so for stability-wise, I don't think it was really that bad. It's just that the game is so me too, just like PayDay 2, that it's really hard to say that you can separate it from that game. There are differences, obviously, because of the setting and the humor and stuff like that, and the fact that they have a class system also separates it even further. I didn't get to go very far into the skill trees because most of it was locked, and I wasn't going to sit here and just keep grinding the same 3 missions over and over and over, and it would just get boring as hell for me to do that. And this is kind of what you get after every mission. If you succeed, you piss Hitler off. If you fail, he's all happy and taunting you. And there's a lot of different little videos in the game that are actually kind of humorous. So I mean, they don't go full on hardcore, you know, Nazi hating, World War II propaganda kind of stuff. They try to make it a little bit lighthearted with some humor, but, you know, some people may not appreciate that. You know, I mean, I think the game is already instantly banned in Germany just for the fact that you're killing Nazis and stuff like that. And, of course, here's the missions. You only had 3, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty more with different types of things that you're supposed to do. I wasn't trying to judge the game going, oh, this is crap, there's only 3 missions. You know, that's obviously not the case. It will have a lot more content, and this was just the beta. But each of the maps is, you know, pretty much different. The only one that's that I just did was called Hunter, and it's really the only one that I saw that had any variation to it. You know, like the maps themselves, the objectives move around. They do have like some dynamic stuff like that. It's not procedurally generated, because it's the same overall area, but where you have to go and what you have to do does change. So, like here, I'd already ran this map, and before, that gate right there was open, so I was trying to stealth in and get to that gate before I got seen, and obviously I failed completely at that, because that wasn't this version's objective. You wanted to be stealthy, sure, but I screwed it up because I didn't realize that's what it actually did. So I messed up there, but generally I saw that I was only able to stealth 1 mission, and 1 mission only, and I really wasn't even trying to do that. I just felt like I got really lucky, and that was the Hunter map, because the Hunter map has a daylight version, which is what you just saw, and then there's one where you show up and it's dark. And, you know, if you make it through and you stealth all the way through, it's actually pretty cool, because you don't fight anybody. You literally go in, stealth through, and just leave, more or less. So, but as far as being able to stealth this stuff the way you can in PayDay 2, none of these characters necessarily have better stealth than anyone else, and I didn't see a single like suppressor, or anything on any of the weapons. All the classes just have one variation on the weapon that they have, and they all have the Luger pistol here. They all have that pistol. It's loud. There's no suppression. There's no way to silence any of the weapons. So I'm not sure how you would even stealth through most of this stuff, because even though you can stealth around and sneak up on people and take out your knife and hit them, almost nothing actually dies in one hit, and you don't have like a stealth kill that's an automatic kill for stealthing up on somebody. So either that wasn't in the game, or it's not going to be in the game, or maybe you have to go really far into the skill trees to actually find that. The skill trees work more like World of Warcraft in a way. Basically, every time you gain a level, you can pick from one of 3 skills, and that's it. And then you go to the next level and the next level. So you have to be kind of very specific about what you want. And some of the skills are really, hard to choose from. Like you could, for example, I could pick from a sprint modification. Do I want to sprint for longer before I run out of stamina? Or do I want my stamina to come back faster after I'm done sprinting? Or, do I want to just have it be like a faster sprint where like I run twice as fast? Something like that. So sometimes it's a really hard choice. Sometimes it's very obvious. Like for the assault class, one of my abilities at a certain level, I don't even remember what level it was, but I could make my heal stronger so that when I use my war cry, I heal for even more health and heal in a bigger radius so that it's more likely to heal my team if we're further apart and stuff like that. But there was one that would increase the damage even more. There's one where the little war cry meter would fill up faster if I was lower on health, things like that. So the skill tree is kind of nice. Having the classes is okay. The problem I have with the classes is, at least in the beta, the assault person was stuck with the assault rifle. The demolitions was stuck with the shotgun. The recon was stuck with the sniper rifle. And so if you can't use a sniper rifle, as you can see, it would be really difficult to use it in an area like this with, a slow bolt action, only 5 shells, per magazine kind of situation. And then the only other weapon you have is the damn pistol. You're going to get your ass kicked. And I'm pretty sure that's what happened the very first time I came in here, thinking the recon was going to be badass, and they're not. At this point, I kind of already had an understanding of where to go, and so I'm making it look a little bit easier than somebody going in here and being just completely lost. But, the recon wasn't, since they were stuck with a sniper rifle and couldn't use anything else, I can't change the loadout that the characters have. It just makes it, that much harder, to come in here and want to use anything but the assault or anything but the demolitionist, because, the assault can heal. The demolition can basically one-shot everything if you get anywhere close to him with the shotgun. So, for me, the recon and, the guy, I already don't remember what he was, the infiltrator or whatever, has an SMG, and it's like, it was just crap. There's no reason to bring that. If you've got a character that can heal and a character that can just mow through people because he has the most health, then you go with that. Especially in a game where it's about surviving as long as you can against hordes and hordes of enemies running in to kill you. It just makes the most sense to me to pick something like the assault. Now, that doesn't mean that the other classes, as the skill trees go further and further, that maybe the skill trees will open up a little bit more and you'll get skills that really benefit your team from the other classes. But it's really hard to beat the assault right now as far as usefulness, at least in the beta. Like I said, everything is tentative. I'm sure they can change or add anything they want. I like the ability from PayDay 2 to basically equip any 2 damn weapons I wanted, plus a sidearm. I could go with a minigun and a sniper rifle. I could go with an assault rifle and an SMG. It just didn't matter. I could use anything that I wanted, and how good I was with those weapons was based pretty much entirely on where I put my points in the skill tree. Whereas this is pretty much everybody's going to get the same 6 or 7 basic skills, and being able to change your sprint, being able to take less damage while you're interacting with stuff, things like that. Every class gets that regardless of the skill tree or the class that you're using. And you can upgrade the weapons. Like my assault rifle here is an upgraded version of the default one because it's a little bit more long range. It's got more stability, and then later on I got a bigger clip, so I didn't have to reload as much, and it basically doubled how much it would hold. And the shotgun was the same way. You got more stability, so it got a slightly longer range. It reloaded a little quicker, and so everything became, you know, more useful. But you know, you're not changing your weapon. You're taking the basic weapon and then upgrading it with skill points, and by doing achievements, which is okay in and of itself. That system isn't a bad idea. I'd had, you know, success with it, but it's to gain a bigger clip with this. For example, with the assault rifle, I had to pick up a bunch of ammunition. I had to pick up like 4,000 rounds of ammo. So I was finding myself just going to the hunter map because it was the quickest and easiest to get in and out of, and just ransacking the place, just firing my weapon as much as I can to use up as much ammunition as possible, so I could pick up as much as possible when I needed it. And so, you know, it became, you know, there's a little bit of a grind there. Like, to get the stability on it, I think I had to do just what you see here. I had to hip fire the assault rifle rather than aim down the sights for better accuracy. So I just had to run around and just do this like this and kill, I think, 250 people that way, and it would let me upgrade the gun. And you know, every weapon was slightly different. You know, I had to use so many headshots with the shotgun, of all things, to get the stability on that, for example. And so there's a system there, and if they expand on it a little bit, it should be kind of interesting. I mean, I just don't think it's going to be as complicated as Payday 2, but I don't know how much, you know, in the game they left out in the beta. You know, this seemed like it was a pretty solid system, but just because it's a solid system doesn't mean it's all that great or all that much fun to play. So the game is actually going to be coming out here in about 10 or 11 days on Steam, and looking at the pricing, they have like a normal edition, and then they have like the collector edition. And I found it kind of interesting that the collector edition is only $60, and you get a bunch of stuff in game for the characters and the weapons that your characters have. So I thought it was kind of interesting that even out of the gate, the developers don't seem like they're that worried that you know, the game's going to be all that good. I mean, that's what it seems like. It's like, you know, a lot of collector editions for other games that come out these days, you know, they're all $70, $80, $100, you know, and you get all this stuff and in-game gold. Now, I didn't see any kind of cash shop or anything like that for this game. No way to really speed up the process of going through and getting these achievements to make your weapons better and things like that. So I don't think you're going to have that kind of an issue. I just found it was kind of interesting that it was so cheap for all the stuff you got out of the collector edition. Maybe they just don't think anyone's really that interested, because initially the feedback for the game was really bad, just because people, you know, enjoyed Payday 2, and to see this kind of coming in and just being a almost 100% copy / rip off of it, you know, left a sour taste in everyone's mouth. Now, I like Payday 2. I played a lot of Payday 2, but I haven't played it in a long time, so I have no idea if Payday 2 is, you know, more like this game now than this game is like Payday 2. So I'm not that broken up about it. I liked Payday 2 when I played it, and you know, it had a place just like all the games that I do play. And you know, I found that after a while it just got repetitive. You know, it was just like anything else. You play it too much, you know, you get bored of it. They added, you know, some humor, and being able to stealth some of the missions was really, really cool. I like that idea, and that idea is still in this. It's just, is it really enough, you know, of a difference between Payday 2 and Raid to warrant somebody wanting to throw $60 at it? In my opinion, as it stands, no, not really. I mean, it's fun, the humor, like these cutscenes with Hitler and making fun of Hitler and World War II and killing Nazis and all of that. I mean, it's neat. Okay, it's cool. It's a spin on a theme, but again, everyone can't really shake the idea that this is just a DLC for Payday 2. You know, it's a reskin, and it really does, in a lot of ways, feel like that. You know, the humor is good. You know, having John Cleese in here to do some of the vocal work is funny, and you know, the missions are good. You know, I didn't hate really any of these missions. They were all kind of fun, But they're all, like I said, again, right back out of Payday 2. Like this one, the train wreck here, you're trying to steal gold from a train. Wow, does that seem kind of familiar? Yeah, it should, because there's a lot of times in Payday 2 where you were stealing either gold or money, or mostly money, but there was a mission in Payday 2 where you were stealing things off of a train, and while it wasn't gold and it wasn't money, it was still, you stopped a train, went through the train, grabbed stuff off the train, and then hauled it away. And it's pretty much exactly this mission right here. Now, it's got some elements in it, obviously, that Payday 2's didn't, because this one is more like a little bit of a, there's things that you have to do. You have to set up, stopping the train and stuff like that. So there's a little bit more involvement in it, but it's still the same basic idea. I'm going to stop the train. I'm going to go through the cars. I'm going to find the gold that we need. I'm going to pile it up in little bags, and because it's heavy, just like in Payday 2, anytime that you had to carry something that was heavy, you walked. You couldn't toss the bags as far, and so you had to protect the person hauling the stuff from getting his ass kicked. And so it's exactly the same as that. And you even have this where you got to go through and do the lock picking. You see, the lock picking is actually something that's different, and it's kind of fun. If you screw it up, he says something funny. I was intentionally screwing it up on my stream, which is where all this footage is coming from, just because he says funny stuff. He's British, so he says all kinds of goofy stuff. And like I said, that part of it, the humorous part of it, is funny. But by the 50th time you've opened a lock, you're kind of sick of just listening to him say the same regurgitated lines. And so it wears off really quick. The nostalgia for it wears off, and you just want to get through the damn mission. Obviously, I'm not playing it on a very hard difficulty because I'm not getting my ass just destroyed by these guys. Their accuracy is, laughable. It's like stormtroopers here. And my team is also kind of laughable, but at least they seem like they're better shots than the guys in Payday 2. It's not always the case, but for the most part, you can run through pretty well and not worry about dying too much. Plus, since I'm the assault guy, I knew I had a heal, so even if I really screwed something up, I could just heal back the damage. And your little war cry meter fills up more than fast enough to get 2 or 3 of those war cries in per map, depending on what you're doing, how long you survive. Now, they do have these variations like this, where, there's a spotter up there, and he throws, he tells a guy where we're at, and then this other guy throws a flare. That's what for some reason, he just made the longest 3-point shot ever. He threw the flare, and it went right down this tunnel, down to the floor. Now, if you would have seen it, you could see him tossing it, and then you can disarm it. Basically, you put the flare out. If you don't put the flare out in, like, say, 8 seconds, 9 seconds, something like that, they start raining artillery down, and you could probably hear it on the video coming, rains down on your position. You don't want that to happen, especially if you can't get out of the way. So you have to have people that are looking for those spotters. If you find the spotter, you can kill the spotter, and there'll be no more flares, at least for a little while. But right there, he literally threw it down the tunnel, and by the time I could go down the tunnel and disarm it, we were already getting rained on by artillery. So there's those kind of mechanics. There's snipers, and your team is good about pointing out where there are snipers, because they're really hard to see in a lot of ways. And it's kind of, shitty in a way, because they get frickin' scopes on their rifles, and my sniper didn't. And that's another mechanic right there. Throughout the mission, you can pick up crowbars, and there will be, you see the crates, the light green crates that sometimes have locks on them, but there are bigger crates sitting around that are like these black, almost look like sniper rifle ammo cases. And if you have a crowbar, you can pop those open, and there's usually, better stuff in there, either more ammunition, healing items. And, these crates are all over the place like this. I didn't know this was even out here, but I could open it, and once it's open, you can take the weapons and ammunition out of them anytime you want. So it'd be nice for your team to go around and unlock all the crates, so if somebody needs some healing or some ammo, they can just go over and just take it right out of the crate. There's also dog tags. I pick up some dog tags here and there. They're just randomly sitting around. I'm sure there may be specific spots where they spawn. I had no idea if that was the case. But you can pick those up to get extra things and achievements and outfits. And, you know, there's, like this, the dynamics of the quest. So it sounded from the dialogue that I had a limited time to actually get this explosions, the explosives set up to stop this train. They kept saying, hurry, the train will be here any second. And I didn't have a timer, and I spent a lot of time not getting ready for the train to show up, and it never really just, you know, failed the mission or, you know, nothing like that. So maybe that'll be something that changes in the live version where you'll actually have a time limit to get your ass in here and get those explosives set up before the train gets here, or you'll fail. And just like in PayDay 2, you know, you go through and you unlock the train as you go. I didn't see any that... unlike PayDay 2's train mission, there's no enemies inside any of the cars just waiting to ambush you, so you can open them all, and that's pretty much what I did, because even though, just like in PayDay 2, you have, like, I'm supposed to get, I think, three bags of gold. Now, if there's more than that, that's fine. I can basically take as much of this gold as I need and get out with it, and the more I get, the more experience, the more money I make and stuff like that. And yes, you can just toss it off the damn bridge down to where you need to go. But in this beta, I didn't see any difference whatsoever. If I got the bare minimum, I think one time I pulled out like 9 of those crates of gold, and I didn't get anything extra at all for doing it. I'm assuming it's just because it's the beta and all of that. So I mean, I was kind of disappointed. I mean, you got 1,000 experience at the end of every one of these missions, no matter how good or bad you did. So for the most part, that's why I just kept running the hunter map, because I could basically burn through the hunter map in 2 or 3 minutes and get more experience per hour just to see what the skills did. And that's pretty much what I ended up doing later on, after I'd learned kind of how to play the maps and get through them pretty quick. So overall, the game is good. It's just not, in my opinion, great. If you were a fan of PayDay 2 and you're not playing PayDay 2 anymore for whatever reason, and you want to try something that's in that, you know, very, very similar, this game will definitely do that for you. It is almost, like I said, it's almost like a DLC for PayDay 2, and it's not that it's bad at all. It just feels that it's just too Me Too. I mean, even from the tossing, and there are skills that let you, you know, walk faster while you're carrying heavy stuff, let you throw heavy things further. I mean, it's literally just PayDay 2 with a different skin in a lot of ways. Now, like I said, it has its own things with the classes, and, you know, each class being, you know, able to use a specific weapon or something like that. So there are differences, but they're so subtle in a lot of ways that it almost just doesn't even matter. And whether or not they decide to balance out the classes themselves, because like I said, I think the assault guy is probably the best class in this game. Now, if there are missions where, you know, Recon or something like that is a lot better because, well, you need that class, then okay, more power to you. But for the most part, you know, being able to heal your team and reduce how much ammunition you need to spend, you know, on this short cooldown with the war cry, I mean, that's just invaluable in any situation, whether you're in close or even if you're trying to stealth. And so, yeah, at the end of the day, it does hit the marks if you enjoyed PayDay 2, but they haven't really improved on the theme. Overall, that's the biggest weakness, is that they didn't up the graphic quality. It's still the same engine from PayDay 2. Some people like it, some people don't like it. I never really had a problem with it. I wasn't, you know, I always thought PayDay 2 looked good, and I never had any problems with crashes or frame issues or anything like that, so I always thought it was a kind of a stable system. A lot of other people say otherwise, so it's kind of like your results may vary. In the beta, it ran smooth. I didn't have any disconnects. I didn't have any lag. I didn't have any problems. I just went in here pretty much just on a whim from somebody from one of the chat rooms on Twitch that I watched. They said, hey, check this out. You know, it's like PayDay 2, but World War II. And I gave it a shot, and it's not bad. It's just not, in my opinion, worth the $60 unless you're a diehard PayDay 2 fan and you just can't play Payday 2 anymore because you're sick and tired of that and you want something that's got a little bit of a spin on it, this might do it for you. But as far as I'm concerned, I may try it later once it comes out and they've maybe patched in some stuff. If there's any bugs or anything in the full game, maybe it'll get patched up real quick and it'll be a little bit smoother for everyone. I'm just gonna sort of hold my judgment on it until it actually comes out and, you know, see some reviews on Steam, see what people think of it, and then go from there. And as you can see, just like Payday 2, I've loaded up my gold on the boat, and the dialogue says, well, you can always go back and get more gold, or we can run away. And of course, I thought about going back and getting more gold. However, since it doesn't actually do me any good whatsoever, I just said, well, hell with it. It's not going to do me any good whatsoever. I didn't know that at this point, but you see the rest of my team had went down, and they were screaming that there was a flamethrower up there. So I didn't want to mess with him, since I'd already messed with him previously, and knowing what he could do, I just said, hell with it. Let's just get out of here and get the mission done. So overall, game is good, but it's not great, and with other games coming out soon, especially like Destiny 2 on PC, I don't know if there's going to be any major reason to play this over something like that. It is fun, and it is funny. It has its own thing going on. I just don't know for sure until the game comes out if that's enough to keep people playing it for a very long period of time. Might be. We'll just have to wait and see, unfortunately. But anyway, that's going to do it for this video. I just wanted to point out this game and what it was about before it came out. I think it's pretty fun, and just let me know down in the comments if you pick it up or if you tried the beta. What's your opinion? Do you think it's worth it? Worth playing or anything like that? Just let me know. I think we get some other opinions. But anyway, that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed it, if you liked it, please press the like button down below. It does help out my channel. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe to my channel, you can click down at the bottom of your screen right now, and that'll get you all the latest updates every time I put something new on my YouTube. Also, check out my Twitter and follow me on that to know when I go on my live stream. I do have a live stream that I do most days, Monday through Sunday, at least somewhat during the evenings. So you can check that out if you're interested in watching me play other games outside of YouTube, and come and hang out and have some fun in the chat. Anyway, that's going to do it. Take care, everybody, and I'll talk to you all next time.